Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Lunar Counseling Podcast. Today, I am joined by the amazing Jessica Buchholz. Buchholz. Sorry, say your last name. I just going to mess it up.
Buchholz.
Buchholz. Thank you. I'm
Yes.
so sorry.
No worries.
Jessica is a licensed clinical psychologist in the Atlanta area, and she's also a side pack psychologist too. So if any states are in side pack, she can get you. Um, she provides individual and group psychotherapy for adults. She integrates interpersonal psychodynamic, EMDR, and cognitive behavioral approaches within a trauma and attachment informed framework. She helps clients identify and break unhelpful patterns, heal from past experiences, and create greater balance, self acceptance, and meaningful connection. She's passionate about group psychotherapy, and she co leads ongoing adult process groups, which is amazing, by the way. A little side of that. And she serves in a bunch of leadership roles within the Atlanta Group Psychotherapy Society. And she values creating a supportive, non-judgmental, and authentic therapeutic environment. Genuine growth and self-discovery can occur. So, a very long way to say welcome, Jessica, and thank you for coming. I'm sorry for messing up your last name.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
So, I asked everyone at the start of this, what brought you into being a therapist?
I have a pretty funny story about that. Well, so of course, I think a lot of us can had similar, like we all kind of have similar strengths and personality aspects that draw us to the field. When I was younger, I was like, oh, I'm really good at listening to my friends and I give them advice. And, I like, being there for my friends because that's totally what being in the mental health field is. Not really, but as a
Yeah.
10-year-old or whatever, I'm like, great, I should do that. I was in Girl Scouts as a kid, and you have to do different things to get your badges and do different activities. And I don't remember what the badge was, but we had a local psychologist come talk to us. And she was someone I knew. She went to my church and things like that. So I knew of her already, but didn't really know anything about what she did. She came and just talking to us about her job. She was in her office one day meeting with this adult male for the first time. He was looking around her office and was really complimentary. I really like your office. This is a really nice office. And she said, oh, thank you. And he's like, but what's with all the dogs? And she was like, I don't have any dogs in my office. Not even pictures of dogs or anything. So maybe he was hallucinating or seeing dogs in some way, but there were no dogs in her office. I don't know how old I was. 10, 11, 12. But I'm hearing the story and I'm like, fascinating. The world of psychology and the human mind really became even more interesting to me, and what you could do different jobs and talk with different people. My senior year of high school, I took one of the college Psych 101 level courses, through kind of like dual enrollment that they do these days.
Yeah.
Loved it. Went into college majoring in psychology right away, which is kind of rare. The rest is history. But I just knew it would be an incredibly interesting, rewarding job. Nothing the same every day. I knew I didn't want just no hate to an accountant or something, but I didn't want let's just sit at the computer and type away the same kind of things every day. I've always wanted kind of to help people, but I'm not into needles or that side of medicine. Kind of better in my personality. I've always been a little more in tune to emotions and things, and so this just really fit me better.
That's super cool. You're the first one I've ever talked to. It was a Girl Scout badge thing to get you into the field, which is super cool.
Hallucinating dogs. I don't know.
Hey, it's still it's super fun. I mean, I know there's still Girl Scouts, but I don't know if they're still doing the crazy. I'm gonna say crazy, but the adventure type things what they used to do. Like my mom used to be in Girl Scouts, and she would say all these crazy things about going camping and being out in the wild and doing all this stuff. And then I have other when I was gonna do it, they're like, yeah, we don't do that anymore. I'm like, What? That's not Girl. Then what do you do for Girl Scouts then?
I know, I think they do. I don't know. My daughter's still a little young to be in it. We haven't explored that yet, but one of my friends, her daughter's in it, and they just went camping. I don't know. But yeah.
Probably just like ebbs and flows with life. Because like I have a client, her son's in Boy Scouts, and not like always the same thing, but they have like, a lot of overlap and do camping stuff. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the early 90s, whenever we were born, was not the thing.
Yeah. We camped in the cabins. We didn't really do the hardcore camping. I was okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh, I can't stand like camping in tent now. We did that for vacation this year. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. So you went like you spent right, you went right into college with psychology, and then you went all the way up to get your doctorate. What was your dissertation in?
The use of interpersonal psychotherapy to treat trauma.
Oh,
Yeah. I got my PsyD, which is a doctorate in psychology, which is similar but different than a PhD. We don't have to actively do research with a PsyD. It's more the clinical interpretation and application of the research kind of thing. So I had to do what was called a clinical research project. I got to do a meta-analysis of other people's research. And so that's what I did was I compared the group application of IPT to standard individual interpersonal psychotherapy to treat trauma, because it was originally developed for depression. And as with almost any of these treatment modalities, it starts as one thing and then it starts to branch out to other things. So using it to treat trauma was a newer expansion of it. And so I was critiquing the research on how does that look. And from what I remember, because it was already sadly like 10 years ago, it was pretty effective.
I I'd hope so if it's like backed by research.
Yeah.
So like so like with the group application stuff, what drew you to groups? What drew you to like the group, like more group focused stuff?
That, I I mean, I guess I just kind of stumbled across it in my various trainings. We had to do practicums each year. I did an internship and a postdoc. When did I do my first? I guess I observed and helped with groups during my very first therapy practicum. That was very different because it was at a residential treatment facility for kids. There were a lot of kind of more structured psychoeducational and like art therapy groups and things like that. That is less my jam. I like more of the like interpersonal process, more free flowing, interactive type groups. And so I've always been interested in trauma, but I thought I was going to do like the littles and work with kids. And I kind of over time shifted to older and older and older. Then I went into college counseling and tried that for a couple of my practicum trainings. And that's where I was a process observer for a group and really enjoyed that. As awkward as it sounds, it was kind of like I was a fly on the wall because I wasn't a co-leader. I was just there literally to observe and take it all in. I took notes and would share my observations at the beginning of each subsequent group out loud to the group. But nobody responded to my observations. I just got to share. So it was a very interesting role. I'd never done anything like that since. But it kind of helped in a unique way for me to really get in tune to and pay attention to the inner workings of the group process and how it can help, how it works, what's at play, what do you pay attention to, what interventions is the group leader using here, kind of thing. And so yeah, my curiosity was piqued from there, and I had a couple of different experiences in my subsequent trainings, but it was when I was on my second postdoc, I finally got to be a training co-leader therapist in the group and got to be more hands-on and actually like being the facilitator. And it was just a lot of fun. It was a pretty established group. My supervisor at the time was one of the main leaders of the group. And it's just fascinating and powerful, like the healing and the process of how group can impact someone in a way that's just so different than the one-on-one dynamic. Individual therapy is great, don't get me wrong. I love doing individual therapy too, but a lot of what we talk about and work on in individual therapy is people's pain from relationships, even if it's
Yeah.
past trauma or within the family system or really difficult family dynamics or from a previous romantic relationship or whatever it is. A lot of our hurt and pain occurs within relationship with someone else or
Well,
a
sure.
group or within a group. And you could target that for sure in individual, but in a whole other way, can you target it within a group, kind of in the here and now within the safe space or safe container of the group, like a social laboratory, and test out new things in real time? Not easy by any means, but a less threatening kind of a space of you're not practicing being more assertive with your boss, where that might just feel too terrifying or I've never done this before. What might happen? But let me test out different ways of interacting with people, different ways of giving and receiving feedback, communicating, things like that, expressing myself, being vulnerable within a group. It can just be so powerful. I love it. It's
I
really
mean,
cool.
that's really true because when you're in the group and like if someone has issues having knowing social cues or being interact, wondering, oh, this is how other people are perceiving me because
Mm,
everyone else in the group is like, oh, you're coming off as a bitch or an asshole or whatever word they want to use in that situation. And they say, okay, so then like, oh, I can do this differently to not be like that. And people will actually want to be around me more.
yeah. Or often it's almost the opposite of, I think, in society, gender roles and stereotypes and whatever can play a part of this. But a lot of times there's a fear of, oh, I shouldn't say this, or I am going to be considered a bitch if I am more assertive, or I can't say that. That's not nice. But you often, especially when it comes to anxiety and social anxiety, the way we fear we're being perceived or perceiving ourselves actually is nowhere near what other people are actually perceiving of us. And we're so much harder on ourselves. So it's like, oh, I can say a thing that's really hard to say when you don't absolutely hate me now as a result. And we're okay. I can give you some tough feedback and we can have a disagreement and work through it. It doesn't have to be just the total end of the relationship, this thing that can't be worked through or repaired kind of thing. So yeah, it's just really cool because we're not taught a lot of these things growing up, or
That is very true.
we don't know how to do things or we just never had the skills for various reasons. So a lot of times as adults, we're kind of playing catch up, trying to either unlearn unhelpful ways of being or patterns or communication styles and try new things, which is never easy.
Yeah, definitely not. And I think the harder part comes into play too is like a lot of times adults play the catch up and then we have our own children. We have to teach them, but we don't even have the skills ourselves. So it's like learning and teaching at the same time. It can be a challenge.
And I'm not trying to teach my kids the same things that I've learned or that I'm doing that I don't want to do anymore.
It's definitely like a balancing act.
How do they put it? That oftentimes when you become a parent, you're kind of parenting yourself as you're parenting your kids for maybe things you didn't get in childhood. And you might not even realize you didn't get certain emotional needs met or certain skills until adulthood. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand either is when someone's struggling and they're like, I don't understand why I'm XYZ, or like, why can't I handle this? Or why am I struggling in this way at work or within this relationship or whatever it is? A lot of times we don't know until get in a certain situation and that thing that you didn't even know was there gets stirred up for whatever reason. And it's like, oh, okay, this is a thing for me, and it's something for me to hopefully be more curious about versus, self-critical or beating yourself up. Maybe within therapy or elsewhere, you can curious about and work through and learn from and kind of go from there.
Yeah, so like you said, like, instead of being self-critical of your shortcomings, be like, okay, I see this as a shortcoming in myself. Now, skills and tools do I need to learn for it not to be a hindrance anymore in my life? I can grow and improve and become the person I want to be versus the person that I currently am.
Yeah. And the self-compassion around it of like, it's not my fault I didn't learn XYZ or that but like it's not something to blame yourself for or be critical about, but give yourself some grace and compassion and meet yourself where you're at now. And that's all you can do.
Yeah.
And then try to take whatever steps to move forward, like you were saying. Like what changes do I want to try to make?
Yeah. Because, like, I mean, I don't know who I was talking to about this before, but it's like we still have the mentality that's being pervasive from like the 1920s, where it's like suppress, 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 don't talk about it. And now it's like we're in 2025. It's like, oh, no, like this stuff needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
It's been almost 100 years, but we still have
Yeah.
parents and grandparents that are influenced by that generation
Mhm.
that have, it's been trickling down. And everyone's like, oh, no, this is not okay. So everyone has to do a lot of
Yeah.
unlearning.
So, so true. And then, we're learning more about how trauma and things can get passed down genetically, not even just from what your parent, like what trickles down from learned behaviors and interactions from your parents and what they teach you and grandparents and, you have what have you, but also how aspects of trauma and how it affects you is genetically stored as well. And I'm just like, wow, this is just fascinating.
Yeah. And to me, too, whenever I learn about how genetically everything gets encoded, I've been learning a little bit more, the other realm thing, more like spiritual things. Okay, so is it just genetic, or is it also that person's past life that's
Mhm.
being in in their genes? It's like there's so many layers to it. Trauma is so pervasive, and it's like a lot of learning and unlearning that everyone has to do. But it's still, I mean, I think it's cool to help people on that journey.
Yeah. We're learning more, thankfully. We're trying to not be the 1920s. We still got some ways to go, but we're working on it.
We only know what we know.
And when you can acknowledge what you don't know, I know what I don't know.
The group piece of it too, because you guys can do the group learning together and like helping. It's really supportive too. So it's not just on one where it's like one person supporting the person doing the learning. It's like
Yeah,
a group of 8, 9, 10, however big a group is, like you
right.
have support too.
You brought up such a huge piece when it comes to group of not feeling alone in it anymore. When you can, like, oh, you too? Oh, like you get it? Because I mean, our clients obviously, well, not obviously, hopefully feel and believe that we get it too and that we're there and support and don't judge them for it and whatever. But sometimes it can have so much more of an impact and mean that much more when it's a peer,
Hmm.
like the group, and you're in it with me and you truly get it because you're in a similar situation. You went through something like that in the past. And when you can connect in that way with another human, it's just, yeah, that level of support hits different.
Yeah. Because like I know a lot of clients have a hard time trusting if the therapist really gets it if they haven't lived it themselves. Which I mean,
Or you're
honestly,
just because you have to, or because,
yeah.
the
I
nature of
mean,
this relationship, sometimes.
yeah. And we don't have to have gone through the exact same thing to understand the emotion behind it. Obviously, you have the peer, someone that actually like
Mm,
literally went through the same situation, but like, oh no, you really get it because like you
yeah,
lived the same thing.
yeah.
Like the betrayal, the trauma, the kind of
Yeah,
emotions that can come up from it.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
just different.
So do you do a lot of groups currently?
So I'm actually currently starting a new group for adults with a history of trauma. And the term trauma, fairly loosely, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it, could be anything that the person considers traumatic or even really difficult relationships or family life growing up, family dynamics kind of thing. Because a lot of times I've really noticed that, and sure, certain words are kind of thrown around a lot, of like, what, oh, that was traumatic or whatever. But at the same time, I feel like it's still on the opposite end of the extreme where a lot of people don't realize the impact that certain experiences or, again, even childhood dynamics, at home really affected them. And it's like, well, that was probably traumatic in some ways, or that expectation of you or that dynamic between your sibling being the one that had all these needs. And so you felt the need to overfunction and overperform and maybe even neglect your own needs, like how that can affect you in a very different way. And that's not necessarily what some people would consider traumatic, but it also not to be dismissed either.
Yeah.
So, long story short, yeah, I'm currently, I mean, even toxic work environment or things
Oh
like
yeah.
that. Like, so many people don't realize, oh, you were exploited. You were kind of emotionally abused at that job or manipulated because it's how it affected you of what's traumatic or not. Did you feel helpless? Did you feel like you were out of control and in danger? I'm currently forming a group to get back to your original question. I've had a couple groups running for a while, and one of them sadly folded shortly. Well, actually, kind of basically right when COVID started, because the shift to virtual was hard for some people. So that one group folded, and another one carried on for quite a while and then ended. For a while now, I've been wanting to start some groups up again, but I've had a couple babies and been on a couple maternity leaves. So it's one of those things that's been on my to-do list. I need to get another group going. So finally doing that. And yeah, I'm really excited because I've missed running a group. I really, really do love it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like hearing you talk about it, like, it's definitely a passion of yours. Like really
Yeah.
get into that mix and have a supportive group. Because like I mean, also the other thing with groups is yes, you facilitate and lead it, but the peers also they can help and they can help do some of the facilitation. So it's not all the lifting on your shoulders.
The group members do a lot of the work, how they're interacting with each other, which is what's really cool too. It's really, I mean, I just keep saying the same thing over and over again. Really cool, really powerful, really whatever. But it is, I mean, sure, I'm there to help facilitate things or maybe ask certain questions, but the group takes it from there. They do the hard part.
But I think it's they're there because they really want to have the healing and the support that they can get from the group. So I think that's
Yeah.
like super powerful. So the one that you're currently getting ready to put together, is it in person, virtual? Like, what are you thinking for it?
It will be virtual. We were originally going to start it late fall, so basically around now. But my co-leader is expecting, about to have a baby. So we were hoping to start the group before, for a period of time before she needed to go on maternity leave, but now we're cutting it too close. So we're like, okay, well, we'll postpone it till summertime for when she's back in practice after having her baby and going on maternity leave. But yeah, if anyone's interested, it'll be virtual. Especially since I am side-packed, I can, if the person's in a state, like 40 something of the states are all in side-pack now, which is amazing. My license can cover treating someone in that side-packed state. It's going to be a lunchtime virtual group. So we're hoping people have more flexibility. One positive thing that came out of COVID, there's a little bit more work from home options, a little bit more flexibility, work-life balance sometimes for someone to pop in Thursday at noon for a quick group and get back to work.
So it'll be Eastern time, right? Because you're Eastern time.
Yes, Eastern
Yeah.
Standard Time. Yes.
Some of the Western states are inside packed. So that'd be like 9 a.m. their time.
True. Maybe they're flexible for a later start time at work. Maybe.
Yeah. Or they can take an early lunch or something. Like, well, that'd be really
Early lunch.
early. But
Take a brunch.
it's like,
Just
that is so cool. Unfortunately, Pennsylvania is not in a SciPac state.
maybe one day.
I mean, I'm also just waiting for the counseling compact to come into play because I'm not a society. I did think about going that route, but I haven't gone that route. I probably won't because life is going right now.
I don't think you need to. You're doing great. You've got all your expertise already.
But I want to go back though because you said you did 2 postdocs. That sounds insane.
Well, so what happened was my first postdoc was so grueling. I was supposed to be studying for licensure at the same time. That was just not going to happen. I was too busy. I completed that year to meet the requirements. I still wasn't licensed, so I couldn't, even though I had graduated and everything and met all the requirements, I couldn't call myself a psychologist yet because I hadn't passed my licensing exam and all of that. So I technically did another postdoc where I shifted to part-time therapy. My first postdoc, I was doing all like psychological and psychoeducational evaluations, testing, and a lot of report writing, very time intensive, and kind of solidified. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to do the therapy and the more hands-on kind of side of things. Evaluations are great, and I love it, and they're important. Don't get me wrong, but I wanted to do the more interactive because you do evaluations, you write up a report, and you give recommendations, but then you're kind of like, okay, good luck, bye, see you later. And I want to be the one helping facilitate the recommendation side of it and build the relationship, do the ongoing work. Didn't really want the kind of get get people in and do the thing and then buy it, kind of rotating thing. So anyway, so my second kind of postdoc was more part-time therapy, and that was where I did my first ongoing adult interpersonal process group and really felt in love with it even more. But yeah, I did that part-time. So part-time, my other part-time job was studying for licensure. And then finally got all that done. Whew, a lot of hoops to jump through, but I did it.
Yeah, it sounds so grueling. I couldn't even imagine.
It was. Oof. It
Like,
was.
and then try and like also survive and make money because you were married at that point, right?
Yeah. Thank goodness you really don't have money for quite a long time during all the
Yes.
trainings. It's like, it's kind of crazy. It
Yeah.
really is. The
Like,
system's a little broken in that way.
honestly, if I wasn't married and I didn't have a bachelor's level mental health job when I was in grad school to help me with the internship practicum part, designated family based at the time, I would not have been able to get through grad school
Yeah.
because it's like you can't survive with the free internships that we have to do. Like, it's like how?
Mm-mm. Nope. I know. It's wild. So you had at least one of your kids already when you were in grad school?
No, I didn't
Oh.
have. I got
So I was about to say, whew, that's impressive.
I got pregnant right after I graduated from grad school. So
So still in the thick of a lot of it. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it was like, huh, definitely crazy. So with all of the things that you've done, what are like your key people that you love to work with the best?
Some of what I've spoken to is adults working through childhood trauma that they often didn't even realize was trauma. Sometimes it is very identifiable, like my dad was abusive or, something like that. But often it's the more nuanced, what I love to call emotional abuse, or I describe it as insidious because
Mm,
it is not tangible. You can't see it. You can't touch it. It's harder to point and like put a finger of like, this is what this is. In a lot of ways, I feel like it is almost more painful, or it's different. It's a different impact than, not that I'm trying to rank order any kind of abuse because it's all awful. Don't get me
right.
wrong. But like especially ongoing long-term emotional abuse and the impact of that. I love helping people put the pieces of the puzzle together of that's what I experienced within this relationship or in this context. And that was actually controlling or manipulative. And that affected my confidence in this way, or that, I've internalized all these beliefs and I've become this way in terms of relationships or interactions or my way of being and viewing other people in the world. And I had no idea. And helping them with that insight and understanding. Now, what do I do about that? How do I change? What do I need? A lot of times it can come up as that overfunctioning, perfectionistic, almost OCD-like kind of tendencies. If you've been through like a difficult childhood type thing like that, of like trying to be in control and overly anxious, but they have no idea how and why that developed. I really enjoy that side of it. I feel like there was something else I was going to say, but I don't know. Um,
No,
but yeah, and just over functioning, kind of. And I don't know why. It's not like I can relate at all, but like the former overachievers, gifted students, anxious perfectionists, and helping them work out a better life balance and giving themselves grace and compassion. And where do I need boundaries in my life? Or even as it's okay to say no. Um, and yeah, how and why am I struggling in these ways? But like, of course you are. You're only human.
right.
Yeah, but I love working with complex trauma also, kind of back to that childhood trauma piece. And it can be so difficult. What's in the name? Complex, complicated. So often I felt like I would get to a point with clients and then we would kind of get stuck. That's why I've recently gotten trained in EMDR to help target those traumatic memories in the brain in a different way and to really reprocess and help people get unstuck.
Yeah. I love your insidious word for emotional abuse because it's so true. I've always described it as like the physical abuse, the bruises heal a lot faster than the mental and emotional ones. Those ones linger and it's so hard to get those ones to heal. But
Especially when you're made to then question yourself and you don't really believe yourself anymore. You have so much self-doubt. And the mind stuff is so much more. Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, I had to cut you off. Keep going.
No, 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 no,
Just
you're fine. Like,
agree with you, excited.
yeah, no, exactly it. The mind can get so warped, especially if you have someone that's a mass manipulator doing the abuse. Like they definitely.
Yes.
I mean, I don't like everyone uses this word, but it's like they gaslight you. I hate like everyone say that word, but it's like it's basically.
I know, but it often happens and people
Yeah.
don't realize it. Yeah.
Yeah. But this has been amazing. I love your approach to everything and your take on group therapy. It's never been my forte. I did family stuff, but group therapy has never been something I've really been drawn to. So your passion for it is so great. People definitely need it. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
So how and where, I should say, is the best way to get in touch with you to learn more about you?
Yes. drjessicabuchholz.com is my website, which is a mouthful, but hopefully you can see my spelling right there.
And the links will be in the descriptions too.
Yeah. And I mean, and you can call or text me. I'm on Psychology Today. You can either call or email through that. And there's a contact button through my website too, which comes straight to me. Any of those ways.
And everyone that's listening, keep an eye out for her group processing that's going to come up in the summer. So
yes,
May, June.
Hopefully June.
Yeah. So if you guys are interested, get on her website and get on the wait list for that. If you're in any of the SciPac states, I don't know all those states that are in that list. So
many of them, and apparently not Pennsylvania. Come on.
Yeah, not Pennsylvania, but other states. Definitely Google it if you're interested. It'd be a lot of healing for you guys. Thank you so much, Jessica. I love having you today.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful.